Hey, thanks everyone for joining me today on this Friday, November 3rd. Hey, if anyone is on X, can you do me a favor and go like or retweet what I just posted? I'm just posting that we're live on Rumble. So if anyone is watching now, if you can go post that for me or repost that, I would really appreciate that. Thanks a lot. Got a good show for you today. Couple of announcements to make before we get started. Last night, if you joined me last night, I said I was running a bit of a fever. And my brain's not working too well. Yeah. Brain is kind of out of it. I mean, we made it through the show, but I got to tell you, when you got a bit of a fever, at least for me, I should not be making any decisions. I should not be signing any legal documents whatsoever, because I'm just really absent-minded. I guess this is what it must be like to just be an absent-minded dummy. Right? I'm finding out what that's like right now. So anyway, I know it is a Fact Check Friday. I forgot what day of the week it was. You know, last night I said I got to find a fact check for the show today, and I rolled through a lot of the fact checks that were being posted. This morning I got to work, putting together the show, totally forgot it was Friday. So I blame it on my temperature, but we won't have a fact check today. Boo! I know. Sorry about that. But I'll make it up in some way. But anyway, I did figure out this graphic thing, but this graphic thing, not quite yet. So, I don't know. We'll get to it. But yeah, let's. Ooh, that does not look good. That does not look good. Oh well, we'll roll with it. Ladies and gentlemen, let's talk about a concept that I call being dead right. It's a term I've coined, and it perfectly captures the idea that yes, you might be technically right, but that doesn't mean it's a good idea. In fact, sometimes it's a really, really, really bad idea. You know, folks, life is a lot like a game of chess, and being dead right is like charging your knight into the middle of the board and yelling, checkmate. No, it doesn't work that way. Just because you can do something legally doesn't mean you should, especially if it involves speeding cars or dark alleys in sketchy neighborhoods. Now imagine this scenario. You're a pedestrian, and the law says you have the right of way at a crosswalk. But let's not forget, my friends, that this isn't a game of chicken. You can't just step onto the road in front of a speeding car and expect it to stop on a dime. No. You might be legally right, but you also might be legally squashed. Yeah. And there's this classic example. Wandering down a dark alley in the wee hours of the night in the sketchiest part of town. Sure, it's your right to be there. It's also your right not to be mugged, beaten, or worse. But trust me, the muggers, they don't respect your legal rights, and they're just going to respect your wallet and your iPhone. It's like challenging a grizzly bear to a game of who wants to eat the most picnic baskets. Yes, technically the bear might be in the wrong, but you're about to be very, very dead right there. So, folks, the moral of the story is this. When it comes to asserting your rights, don't be dead right. Use your noggin, think about your safety, and remember that common sense trumps legally right every single time. Because in the grand game of life, it's better to be alive wrong than dead right. My name's Tom Coffey. This is a Coffee Nuance Show, the best censored commentary news show live right now. Flame on. coffee is right here. Again, running a bit of a temperature, and I was not able to get everything right. The camera angle is wrong today. I know I didn't write jokes for every single story that I have, but, what are you going to do, right? We're just going to power through it on this Friday. See, now I'm looking, and I don't even like this background. It doesn't even look right. So let's see if we can switch that up. How about? Okay. That's a little better. That's a little better. Anyway, so glad y'all could join me today on this Friday. Normally a Fact Check Friday, but I fell off. It's this temperature. And I've decided to do the responsible thing until I can get myself checked out. I guess I'm not going to go around and cough on everyone in public. I don't know. I may have COVID. I'm not sure. Something's not quite right. I do have a bit of brain fog. I do have some brain fog happening. So until I can find out, I'll quarantine myself just to be a good neighbor, because that's what it's all about. But I wanted to talk about this idea of being dead right. So often, things can get confusing because it really depends on how you frame things. Often, you may say someone was asking for it, right? And I don't think anyone's asking for it, right? Technically, right, if I wanted to, I should be able to walk anywhere in town. And you know what? I should be able to make bow ties out of $100 bills and just walk around and use them as like a kerchief, a little thing sticking out of my pocket. Right? No one has the right to take that from me. But chances are, I'm not going to last that long. Right? In the same way, I'm in Portland, and no matter what, I feel like politically, if I wanted to wear a red baseball cap that said "Make America Great Again" and walk around in Portland, that would not be a good idea. I don't think that I would be safe. At least in Portland has a bunch of weak people, so my car wouldn't be safe. They might see me leaving my car, and my car would not be safe for sure. So those are just decisions on being, you don't want to be dead right. In the same way, we've got this stupid law here in Portland that technically, right, pedestrians have a right of way anywhere, which doesn't even make any sense. So anytime there's a pedestrian death, it's never the fault of the pedestrian. Okay. It's a weird way that they can play with statistics and things like that. So one of the issues that we have here is we have all these drug addicts living on the street. They wear black. They get high. They walk out into the middle of the road, at 2 a.m, and someone coming home from a bar or coming home from work late at night, they don't even see them and they hit them. And, because we got some silly... Now, right, technically, here in Portland, you have the right to wander out into the road. It's legal. But you're going to be dead. Don't be dead right. That's the point that I'm making. Your personal safety is more important than anything else. It doesn't really matter what the law is. You need to worry about yourself first. And that brings up something that I saw that took place in Durham yesterday. So let's get to that. Yeah, I'm not going to use this other camera because it's way too far off today. I don't know about it. You know, but folks, I saw these anti-war protesters blocking the Durham freeway, and I thought to myself, if this is their way of promoting a ceasefire, I hope they don't start advocating for better traffic management in our cities. I mean, if gridlock is the path to world peace, we're in big trouble. So here's the story. Anti-war protesters caused a traffic standstill in Durham on a Durham freeway during the evening commute. The protesters were advocating for a ceasefire, displayed signs with a phone number to call a North Carolina representative. The demonstration was organized by the Jewish Voice for Peace and lasted nearly 3 hours before they dispersed. Some drivers supported the protests' message but questioned their use of city resources for this type of demonstration. So here it is, all these kids, they go out and they block the freeway and they're protesting. And you know, I believe in protesting. I think that we need to have our voices heard. You just really need to be careful. Is it worth dying over? Because you don't know. When you're blocking a highway, you don't know who you're blocking. You don't. There could be a crazy person that just decides to drive through you. Just drive right through you. Now, they don't have the right to do that, but you're going to be dead right. Okay. Likewise, I would be very cautious, even if you're down there and you're like, oh, okay, well, I'll be on the side here. I'll be on the sidewalk while these other people block traffic. Well, guess what? People might just drive onto the sidewalk to avoid the people in the street. You don't know. And you don't know who you're blocking by that. There could be someone trying to get to the hospital, and you're stopping them from getting to the hospital. There could be all kinds of things that you're keeping people from. You don't have the right to block traffic like that. And I understand some people are like, but some things are so important that we can do that. And this is what I say to you. Be very careful, because this is how you end up dead. And, you know, I think back to 2020 when a highway was shut down in Seattle by people protesting. This was at night. And further down the road, there were a bunch of people just standing out there, hanging out in the highway. Now, they thought they were safe because there were no cars, right? Because they would have been blocked further down. But a car made it through and was flying 80 miles an hour or something like that, and took out 2 people that were just standing there. They didn't want to be dead, but they were. And it had nothing to do with the person the person driving, he wasn't opposed to the protest. He you know, I think it was a Black Lives Matter protest. He wasn't anti-Black Lives Matter. In fact, I think he was black. He just didn't like people getting in his way. And so he drove around him, drove really fast, and hit 2 people. Really sad. And I don't think that those kids, I say kids, they were probably college age, really thought about it. They didn't even think. But they ended up being dead right. So, yeah. So what kind of protest could you do, right? Well, here's the thing. This would be my recommendation. Come up with a protest that's going to get you attention, because that's the point of a protest, is to get attention. Okay? Blocking a road, that's old news. That's boring. That's been done thousands of times. Be creative. Come up with a protest that's going to get eyeballs. You know? You could probably get more eyeballs by doing some kind of coordinated dance routine or something than by blocking traffic. There's all kinds of ways to get attention in this attention economy that we have. And if you're protesting something, you need to just be a little bit more creative than putting yourself in harm's way. That's my take. Maybe you disagree. Let me know in the comments. Again, I'm going to go through all the comments. All the comments. Where are all of the comments? We got comments on Rumble and on YouTube. And I'll be going through all of those in the after show. So stick around for that. I appreciate everyone for joining me live. But come on, be more creative than that. Be more creative than that. Indeed. Well, next up, I got a story, and it is exactly like a story from a year ago. So, read about this video hosting service called Rumble. Familiar with that? Anyway, they say they're all about freedom of speech, but when France asked them to remove some Russian news sources, they said, we believe in free speech. We're not going to remove these sources, so you know what? We just won't even be in France. Yeah. Now, this morning, so here's the story. Rumble, a video hosting service similar to YouTube, suspended access for users in France after the French government requested the removal of some Russian news sources. Rumble, known for pro-freedom of speech stance, challenged the order and has disabled access to France. Now, it shouldn't impact Rumble that much. Less than 1% of its users are in France, and the company hopes that France will reconsider. Okay. Well, this was actually a year ago. This morning, I was on X, and I saw Glenn Greenwald put out a statement about this. And I thought, oh, this is news. Let me check this news out. And then I went to archive the story. And it was from actually 2022. It was a year ago that this happened in France. And so, wow, for a year, it's still blocked. So I guess France does not consider freedom of speech the way that other countries consider freedom of speech. And I got to hand it to Rumble for, holding their ground. Unfortunately, all the people in France are not able to then use the platform. It's tough. Like, what would the right thing to do be? What would the right thing to do be? They want you to censor. You don't want to censor. I don't know. Makes it, it's a conundrum, if you will. It's a conundrum. But we'll follow this, but I am pleased that Rumble's held their ground. And next up, we got to talk about SBF. Didn't write a joke for this guy. You just need to look at him, right? No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Looks like he's lost some weight during his trial. But I would assume trials are very stressful. And that's a way to lose weight, right? So Sam Bankman-Fried, on trial for FTX's collapse, claims the exchange's failure was due to poor decisions, but not fraud. No. He denies defrauding or taking customer funds. Charges against him revolve around alleged false representation of customer deposit safety. He argued FTX terms allowed borrowing from deposits with collateral. Prosecutors accused him of secretly changing code to give Alameda, that's his partner company, access to customer funds without collateral. Bankman-Fried said these privileges were for legitimate purposes. He claims he only learned of the liquidity crisis they had in October 2022. Now, prosecutors argued he knew as early as June that year when an $8 billion deficit owed by Alameda to FTX was discovered. So, turns out he was found guilty. Guilty. And how many years is he facing? 110. 110 years for being a creep. No, I'm sorry. For being a fraudster. For being a total fraudster, he's facing 110 years. As you know, or maybe you don't know, FTX was the number two donor to the Democrat Party. So what are they going to do without all those funds? And do you think those are all of those funds that were stolen from investors? Do you think those will be returned by the Democrats? Probably not. But to be fair, I wouldn't expect it if those funds went to the Republicans. I wouldn't expect them to repay hundreds of millions of dollars in campaign donations either, to be fair. But this is quite interesting. This is one of those things that I will say, I will believe it when I actually see it. I think that there's going to be some kind of I don't yet believe that he's going to serve real time. I don't yet believe it. But we'll have to see what happens. Typically, if you were to give hundreds of millions of dollars to Democrats, they would find a way to get you out, right? You would think. But, sometimes people actually have to pay the price for doing so wrong. And this is just as a side note about cryptocurrencies, this did a lot to harm the reputation of cryptocurrencies. And a lot of people lost a lot of money in this. One of the keys in cryptocurrencies, though, is they say it's your keys. Oh, not your keys, not your coins. Okay, that's the phrase. Meaning that if you leave all of your crypto under to someone else, they're in charge of it. They have access to all of it. And if you have cryptocurrency, if you've bought it, what you want to do is take it off of the exchange. So you want to take it out of Binance. You want to take it out of Coinbase. You want to take it out of those exchanges if you're going to hold it for a while, and have it in your own. Have it in your own wallet. Don't leave it on the exchanges. That's trouble. And if that's something you're interested in, you can just learn how to look up how to get your coins off of crypto exchanges, because you don't want to leave them there. They're vulnerable to hacking, they're vulnerable to being stolen, and they're vulnerable in this case of fraudsters. So you want to make sure that you're in possession of your coins and you're not leaving them on the exchange. Anyway, we got speaking of fraud, I got another story about that. Yeah. Check this here. Okay, good. It's working. Folks, in Bridgeport, they ordered a new mayoral primary because of mishandled ballots. It's like the city's version of a do-over. Maybe we should do that for our past elections too, just to be safe. I'm just kidding. A judge ordered a new Democratic mayoral primary in Bridgeport, raising legal concerns. But the general election is still scheduled for Tuesday. Oh my God, what's going to happen? The city attorney is exploring legal options after losing the lawsuit challenging the primary results. Primary winner, John Gannon, now faces uncertainty. The challenger, John Gomes, hopes to win as an independent in the general election. The judge has given all parties 10 days to come up with a plan for a possible new primary. Meanwhile, efforts are being made to strengthen the election system, including Dropbox surveillance. State representatives believes this incident underscores the misuse of absentee ballots and will continue to push for voting integrity reforms. So you probably can't see it in the little graphic here, but city employee just walking over to the all out in the open collection box for ballots and walked up with a big plastic sack and just was stuffing ballots into the ballot drop box at 5:42 a.m. And she worked right next door. Worked for the city employee, right? Worked for the mayor. So, yeah. And in that state, it's not legal to carry other people's ballots. I like to think, I think about, I've worked in the past, long time in the past. I worked for an organization that collected ballots here in Oregon. And it's legal here to collect ballots. I think that it's wrong in hindsight. At the time, I thought, oh, this is pretty good because, I was doing stuff for Democrats, right? And at the time, I thought, oh, this is good. These people, they're not turning their ballots in, or maybe they haven't filled them out yet. So we're getting lists of people that haven't turned in their ballots yet. We're going to their house and asking them, hey, just fill it out and I'll take it for you. And then we would turn it in for them. But we collected thousands, tens of thousands of ballots at people's doorstep. I don't think that should be legal. It's still legal here. You can collect them. And in fact, one of the problems with that, and why people shouldn't do it, if you care about your vote, you should take it yourself and deliver it yourself. But I think in the last election, someone had collected a whole bunch of ballots and then didn't turn them in on time. None of those ballots were counted. Yeah. So I do think that we need to do some updating on this. The ballot collection place, if there's a place to drop off your absentee ballot, it should be in the public. It should probably be behind. It shouldn't be like right out in the open that people can walk up with hundreds of ballots and just stuff them in there. And perhaps we need some video surveillance of Dropbox locations. There's a lot we can do, and we're not doing it. And that's the thing that concerns me the most, that after the last election, we saw a lot of things that appeared questionable to many people. And I just haven't seen the reform that you would expect there to be. I'm not seeing the reform. So that kind of gives me the impression that, although the Republicans complained a whole lot about the system, they're not doing anything to change it, really. Not that I'm seeing. Yeah. It is very interesting. I guess they like the system as it is. I don't know. This is one of those topics that I just don't understand. Because if I were a candidate and I felt I had been cheated, all I would be doing would be I would be working to try to reform the voting process so that it's more transparent and less vulnerable to these kinds of shenanigans. So, yeah. Anyway, lastly, we need some good news, So hard to find some good news, so let's get to the good news. I actually do have my coffee today. Oh, wait. We're not doing good news. Good news is in just a minute. I got one more story. Here. This is about... Messed up my script here. Maybe you've seen this. Have you seen this yet? In October, Google implemented a significant crackdown on ad blockers, particularly affecting users of its YouTube platform. The crackdown led to a surge in users uninstalling ad blockers and seeking alternative solutions that would trigger YouTube's restrictions. Figures from ad blocking companies indicate a record number of ad blocker uninstalls and installs during this period. YouTube has moved to deter ad blockers, coincided with tests to increase the number of ads shown. I'll get back to that. A strategy to boost ad revenue. Ad blocking companies are working to find ways to evade YouTube's restrictions, but the situation remains contentious. The ad blocking industry, content creators and advertisers are at odds over what constitutes acceptable ad formats with no immediate resolution in sight. The situation may continue to evolve, potentially affecting the balance between ad blockers and online platforms. Yeah. So, what is happening with these ad blockers? Now, this one here says, video player will be blocked after 3 videos. Have you received that notification? The one that I receive is I just get a general warning that ad blockers are no longer acceptable on YouTube, and then you have to wait about 15 seconds and you can close the tab and watch the video. That's what I've received. But I got a couple solutions for you. First, I do think that it is ironic that they're cracking down on ad blockers at the exact same time they're adding more ads into the system. That's what they've admitted. They're pushing more and more ads at the same time trying to get rid of the ad blockers. I think I don't know. I think they're going to drive people away from YouTube with this strategy. That is my belief. But you're talking to someone that has probably used those plugins for at least 20 years, okay? Probably as long as it's been around, I have used it. I'm pretty sure I've been using ABP for at least 20 years, I'm sure. And you can do a fact check on that. You're like, Tom, it's only been a company for 19 years. Okay, all right. And I know a lot of people watch on their phone, and their phone, it's a different system. But if you're using a desktop, the big issue is Chrome. The Chrome browser, which is the biggest browser. Who owns Chrome, right? Google owns Chrome. Google owns YouTube. If you're using the Google browser, right, you're using the Chrome browser, obviously, they're going to be able to deal with that. They're not going to let you get away with it. They want you to kick in, what, $14 now, I think, to go ad-free on YouTube? Something like that. So here's my solution. Don't use Chrome. Use another browser. And if you wait until Monday, I may have a link to sign up for one, but I don't have it yet today. But that's the key, is you're on Chrome, well, you're going to have these issues. So perhaps you consider alternatives. But I'm going to actually check this out over the weekend. I'm going to play around on my phone, on my iMac, on some different platforms, and I'm going to try to come up with what I think is the best solution if you don't want to watch a whole bunch of ads. I will, so I'm going to work on that. But I don't have a solution as of this moment. So there we go. Still no good news, not yet, because my whole thing is messed up. But next, let's talk about rock and roll. So, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame is inducting Missy Elliott, Kate Bush, and even Willie Nelson. That's quite an eclectic mix, isn't it? I mean, if they can bring hip-hop, ethereal pop, and country together, why can't we get the Democrats and Republicans to collaborate on anything? Maybe we need a Hall of Fame for politicians who can actually work together. Oh, that's right. They can all come together to fund war. I forgot. I forgot. Yeah, they can all get together for that as well. Yeah, so here's the story. The 2023 Rock and Roll Hall of Fame inductees include Missy Elliott, Kate Bush, Willie Nelson, Sheryl Crow, Chaka Khan, Don Cornelius, and George Michael, among others. The year's ceremony highlights diversity and female representation in music because of course it does. The event will be held in New York and will be broadcast on ABC on January 1st. So, I don't know. The Rock and Roll Hall of Fame has always just been a joke, in my opinion. It's not that serious. I think it lost a lot of its fun when they gave in and let Kiss into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. It's a made-up thing. It's a made-up thing, and I thought it was funny every year. They wouldn't let Rush in, and Kiss wasn't in there. And it was great for them, for publicity, because every year people would do, I can't believe Kiss is not in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. And they're in there, so it does kind of show you don't need to make good music to be in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. But yeah, they've got all kinds of stuff that isn't even rock and roll. It's kind of a big who cares. I mean, it would be nice if you were an artist to get the recognition. I understand that. But it's not a real serious Hall of Fame. Because they're not that picky. They're not that picky as to who they pick every year. If they wanted to be serious, be like the Baseball Hall of Fame. The Baseball Hall of Fame doesn't take many people in every year. They take very, very, very few. So they're making it special. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame just takes anyone. So, yeah. So if you've ever considered starting your own Hall of Fame, maybe a Donut Hall of Fame, a Croissant Hall of Fame. What would be some other good Hall of Fames? Fact-checking Hall of Fame. I don't know. Whatever you want to do. Don't just take everyone. It dilutes. It dilutes what it means. Be very, very careful about who you select. Make sure you only get the cream of the crop. And that's what will give a Hall of Fame legitimacy. But again, Halls of Fame are they're just made up. They're just made up. Yeah. So anyway, lastly, I do have some good news. Finally, we can get to the good news. Yes, the good news. Recent TikTok travel hack involves using Google Flights by typing anywhere into the destination box and leaving the dates blank. This reveals a list of low-cost flights to various destinations Globally, offering spontaneous and adventurous approach to travel planning, the hack allows travelers to discover affordable flights to unexpected destinations and introduces an element of surprise to their trips. So I thought we could check this out. So here it is. Here we go. This is Google, and what we've done is let's see if we can see this. Move it over just a little bit there. Okay. So we've got we're going from Portland, which is where I am, and I just typed in anywhere, and we can zoom around and see some prices here, and it does this on the fly. So we've got it set for Sunday the 19th. So if you wanted to make a trip close by, so here's what we could do. So we've just typed in anywhere, and it will immediately calculate and find you an incredible trip. Now, from Portland, right here in the red dot, you can go to LA for $153. I'm assuming this is round trip. Yeah, round trip, one person, economy. Mexico City, $613 we could go. It's not a bad trip. Cancun to for $403. We could go down to Bogota. Only $580. Wow, it's cheaper to go to Colombia than it is to go to Mexico. How about that? What if we were to go even further down here? Now, those people that have been watching my late night Midnight Americano show, they will be able to identify all these countries right here. So if you don't know what these countries are, let's see. Scoot this over. The countries in the top half of South America, if you don't know what all of those are, you should be watching my late night show, Midnight Americano. I taught every one of those. But yeah, well, $1,400 to Buenos Aires, $1,200 to Santiago, Chile, $962 to Lima. But I think this is just kind of fun because you can play around and look at your options, and perhaps you might find a really good deal to some exotic place you never thought of before, that you could get a really good deal. You know, as far as I know, we only got one shot at this life. I've found travel to be one of the most rewarding things that I've done. You know, if you travel outside of the country, you can really change your perspective on things. So Ho Chi Minh City, $1,200. Sydney, Australia, $890 round trip. That's this month. That's not even planning, 6 months out in the future. Let's see. And we'll go all the way over here and let's see what's happening in Europe and Africa. See what it comes up with. Oh, look here, Mahi. Oh, let's see. Can't see. Mahi down here, off the east coast of Africa. That is in the Seychelles. You can go there for $1,900 round trip. Here we go. Dubai, $787. London, $977. Well, Lagos, $1,300. So yeah, I think that this would be a good thing just to play around with. You can work on your geography. You can find a place. You go, wow, I've never even thought of this place. Let me pull it up and check it out. See what it's like there. Maybe we can do a trip there. Why not? Why not? Just be random. I say go for it. That's my thought on things. And perhaps I'll do that. Perhaps I'll find right now there's too many places that I want to go. But who knows? Maybe if I can find a place in the future and they have some incredible deal, and I find through this Google Flights, Trip Anywhere, maybe I'll just book it. That would be really cool. So, this is the kind of rich fantasy life thing that I like. I like looking at different possibilities and thinking about them. And maybe you do too. So if you do, let me know. What is the flight that you found that you've got to do? Let me know in the comments. Speaking of the comments, stick around the after show. I will be going through all of your comments. And as a reminder, it is Friday, and tonight at midnight on the East Coast, hopefully my temperature will have broken and I'll be feeling better. And I'll be a little more lucid. And I'll be able to get my equipment to work right. But 9 p.m. on the West Coast, midnight on the East Coast. I got a late night show called Midnight Americano. If you haven't checked it out yet, please do. It's a chill vibe. We're just hanging out, going through some stories of the day, having fun, telling jokes. I think it's a good hang. It's a good hang. So if you can join us tonight, I'd love to see you there. And if not, we'll be back on Monday with another show. Until then, peace. Yeah, thanks for sticking around. Let's get the chat up. Nice to see everyone. What's up, Big Daddy? Glad you made it. You have a right to common sense. Use it. Exactly. Hashtag Rumble Gang. Good to see everyone. It's hard to switch here from YT without missing something. I get it. It's always hard to do something new. But looks like all the cool kids are on Rumble today. Hey, what's up, all the cool kids on Rumble? And as a reminder, all the cool kids, smash the like button. Is the flu symptom always COVID? No, could just be the flu. Could be, who knows what it is. I could just have some bug. Right? That's what it used to be called. Had a bug. Maybe it's a cold. I don't know. But what I do know is that, so I run higher temperatures than most people. My body functions weird. Just so you know, 98.6 is the average for people, but not everyone. That's not everyone's temperature. We all have different core temperatures. So for myself, I actually run a really low temperature. Every day when I get up, my temperature is about 95.5, right? And even if after I'm exercising and I'm working out and I'm just going nuts later in the day, my temperature never, ever goes above 97.3. That's the maximum that my temperature will ever be at. And so if I check my temperature and it's above that, I'm in trouble. I'm in big trouble. I do think that it's important that you know what your regular temperature is. And you can do this, just take your temperature every day at the same time for a week, and you will then see, oh, my regular temperature every single time I check it when I'm not ill is 98.2, 98.8, whatever it happens to be. But it's important that you know what your own temperature is. That way you'll know when you're running a fever and when you're not. I think for the longest time, I just assumed that my regular temperature would be 98.6 because that's, foolishly like that's what they said in school. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, I guess that's average. if my temperature gets to be 99, I'm like hallucinating. I can't even function at all. I'm losing my mind at that point. And a lot of people can do that and it has no effect on them whatsoever. So that is something to keep in mind. Blocking a freeway is a simple way to raise discontent against their cause. Yeah, I think there's a lot of blowback. There's a lot of, yeah, I mean, if you want people to hate your cause, that's what you do. That's what you do. So I don't think that it's a good thing to do. Sometimes there's a point, but you always want to be safe if you do something like that. I'm not going to say that you can't ever block traffic because, you know, I don't think, it's tough. I think generally speaking, if you're blocking traffic, especially if you're blocking traffic in a way that people cannot get around you, right? That you're creating a dangerous situation. Now, there could be some instance that you're having some kind of protest and you block one lane of traffic or something. I don't know. I'd feel a lot differently about that than I would about just totally blocking a freeway, not allowing anyone through. Someone could be trying to give birth and they can't get to the hospital, you know, because there's some college kids that want to be heard, you know. Get creative. Come up with something. You can come up with something. You know, that's the same thing I say about people that kind of go mad and, you know, shoot up the place or something, right? Don't do that. Get creative. You know, if you need attention for whatever reason, you're hearing demon thoughts or something, you want to get some attention, you're craving attention, just, you know, you got to be creative. Come up with a different solution rather than causing harm to other people. Town squares are made for a purpose. I agree. The town square is a great place for that. In fact, I think you know, they have Speaker's Corner in London. And I was there in the 80s, and I took a picture of a guy who was talking about Christian atheism. I remember this, and he had a sign, Christian atheism. And so he was always there talking about this idea. And I'm not going to explain what the idea is. It's not that important. But then when Bill Maher made a movie, Religiosity, you know, decades later, that same guy with the same sign was in his movie. And I was like, I can't believe that's the same dude. You know, like I say, this is probably, you know, 30 years later, 20 years later, something like that. Same guy was there. So, yeah, I do think that town squares are an important thing. Here in Portland, we've got Pioneer Square. So we've got a nice big city block downtown that people can hang out and talk and about all that stuff. Yeah. Protest on a freeway is dumb. If my son was hurt and I was going for help, I'd do whatever to get him help. Better stand aside. Exactly. Big Daddy says, Rumble works great when it works. That's true for a lot of things. Freedom of controlled speech. I get that. Aylin Durrell. Aylin Durrell. Working on it. France looks like Portland now with all the immigrant homeless. Well, I would say probably most of the homeless here in Portland, I guess they're immigrants from other states. But I would say the vast majority of homeless here in Portland are white Americans. You know, yeah. Back in the mid-'80s, I protested seatbelt laws by running around at night writing, "Buckle up, it's the law," on random car windshields with white shoe polish. There was a group, we weren't caught. Oh, that's funny. A lot of times there can be, you can't take protests at their words. Sometimes you could be doing a protest to have the opposite effect, and it sounds like that's what you're doing. That's pretty funny. 110? Oh my God. Yeah. That's 5 life sentences and a smidge. Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens with SBF. He only stole what, like $8 or $9 billion. Yeah. Big Daddy says, I'm not a fan of crypto yet. Well, it gets a lot of bad press, and I will say that if you think about who is behind a lot of the press in this country, the press seems to be parroting a lot of the establishment, and the establishment is not a fan of anything that challenges their central banking monopoly or scam, whatever you want to call it. So there's a lot of bad press about it. Just keep that in mind. In comparison with NFTs, cryptocurrencies look like a great stable investment. Yeah. Dems screwing over Dems with no honor among thieves. Well, it seems that way. 5:42 a.m. She's an early bird ballot stuffer. Yeah, if you're going to commit stuff like that, much easier just to get up early. Get up early than to stay up late. So I think she chose the right time. But if she worked for the city, she probably should have known. There was a camera right there. You could have put on a motorcycle helmet or something. I don't know. At least you don't have online voting in the U.S. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know about voting. I feel like I could solve the problem, and but I feel like a lot of people could come up with solutions to this problem. What I'm seeing is the system not wanting to solve the problem. That's the issue, and that's the scary thing. Big Daddy says, I watch on my phone mostly. Okay, well, that's good to know. Imagine if Google blocks YouTube on all browsers except Chrome. Well, I wouldn't be surprised if they did that kind of nonsense. I wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. I use Brave browser. It blocks all ads and somehow fools YouTube into thinking it doesn't block ads. No ad block warnings. I agree, Aylin Durrell. And in fact, I may have, hopefully, I signed up for something with the Brave browser. And when I am officially a partner, then I can share that news with you all here. But I haven't been approved yet, so hopefully that'll be real soon. Is it a Hall of Fame if they let in so many? Yeah, that's the problem. Missy Elliott in Rock and Roll Hall of Fame? That's ridiculous. Well, I guess the idea is rock and roll is just music, and it's like Madonna's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Okay. Lots of people are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame that wouldn't really be considered rock and roll. There's rap artists that are in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. So it could just be kind of called the Popular Music Hall of Fame. That's just how that's how it started out. So bit of a misnomer, but it is what it is. When everyone is super, nobody is incredible. Yeah, pretty much. What happens if you type in anywhere cheap? Does it find the absolute lowest fares? Well, with this anywhere Google Trips, if you go on Google Trips and you type in anywhere, they're giving you the lowest price on that date. But I think, let's see. I don't know if I can type in, like, you can also do a flexible dates. So, for example, I've done a 1 week trip in the next 6 months. Okay. And let's see what it comes up with. Well, it's really thinking hard here, but let me show you what is up here. So I put in a 1 week trip in the next 6 months to anywhere, and look at this. We can go to Rome, Madrid, Lisbon. Go to Lisbon, Rome. We can go to Rome, $454 round trip. Stockholm, $490. That is an incredible deal. That is an incredible deal. And then if we switch it over here to the Americas, let's see. Let's check out our best prices in the next 6 months. Oh, well, so like Buenos Aires, $1,036. Might be doing that, I hope. But from Portland to Cancun, $222 round trip. See, so you can really find some incredible deals. Let's say you always wanted to go to Bora Bora, right? Oh, actually, look, you can go to Tahiti here. $894 round trip. Bora Bora is $1,300. But I imagine you could go to Tahiti and take a boat over to Bora Bora, perhaps. But look at this. Honolulu, Hawaii. If, you know, I'm in Portland. If I wanted to go to Honolulu, and they really need, you know, Hawaii really needs tourists now, after the fires. $256 round trip. That's an incredible deal. And so I just want you to be aware of this resource because, wow, $256 round trip to Hawaii. What am I doing here? You know, wow, that sounds like an incredible deal. So this is just another resource that you can use to look things up and hopefully do some more awesome stuff with your awesome life. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Thanks for being patient with me. Oh, Doug's over on YouTube. Did I not go through all the comments? Did I not? I guess I didn't. Let me run through the rest of the comments here really quick. Look at the Moon says, 3 Amigo countries. I remember that much. Thank you for remembering that, the 3 Amigo countries. That's just across the top of Latin America. We got Guy, Sir, and French Guy. That's Guyana, Suriname, and French Guiana. So good for remembering that. Tom, no news on how bad Acapulco got destroyed. Tropical storm, Category 5 storm overnight. Yeah, I did not, like I say, I'm a little out of it today. High temperature is just your body's way of fighting off germs. It's best just to let it do that. Fever is a symptom, not the root problem. And I agree. I know that. Look at the Moon says, I think your eggnog was compromised. That's probably why you're under the weather. Perhaps. Perhaps it was that pesky eggnog. From my TSA days, it seems the airport was the least busy on Saturdays, and Tuesday was the second least busy day, if that matters. I do like Tuesdays. Tuesdays are a great day. They seem to actually have the best, Tuesday seems to be the best deal for prices that I have found. Come tour the aftermath in beautiful Hawaii. Well, I would. I'd like to do that. But let's check out people checking in on YouTube. That's cool. Alan Durrell says, I got 2 comments censored yesterday on YouTube, and he'll be on Rumble from now on. Okay, well, that's something good to do. Doug says he was on house arrest, speaking on SBF. I think it was revoked a couple months ago. Yeah. What's up, Fat Cyborg? Good to see you. The Beatles have a new single. I have not listened to the Beatles song. Rio sounds good to me too. I like that. Yeah, it's looking like Rio's about $1,000 round trip in the next 6 months from Portland. Of course, if you're in a place in the country that's a little bit closer, you can have a lot better deals. If you live in LA or Dallas or Miami or someplace that has more flights. Not as many flights from Portland, but yeah, the Beatles' new single, it's not really a new single, right? I mean, it was something that was recorded when John was alive, and I think they used some AI in it. I haven't checked it out yet, but I will. I think it's I'll check it out, but no, something that was recorded 40 years ago that they pulled out and added stuff to me, that's not really a new single, but it might be cool. I'll check that out. Anyway, that's all I have for you today. Hope to see you tonight for Midnight Americano. If not, have a glorious weekend. Till then, peace.